The new department head pointed at me in front of everyone and said I was fired for disrespecting the CEO's son. The room went silent. My best friend turned pale, and I just stared at the man in the designer suit, wondering how he could be the CEO's son, when my father was the CEO and I was the only legal heir Apex Global had ever named. My name is Heir, and for 3 years I worked in my father's company as a man no one had any reason to impress. That was the point. My father, Jonathan Heir, built Heir Meridian Group from a single logistics office into one of the most powerful supply chain companies in the country. People treated his name like a password. Doors opened for it. Voices softened for it. Men who would not hold an elevator for a janitor would bow if they heard the name Heir. I hated that. Not because I hated privilege. I knew what I had been born into. I knew the schools, the houses, the opportunities, the safety net. But I also knew something my father taught me when I was young. A company is not built in the boardroom. It is built by the people who answer angry calls at 7 p.m., the people who load trucks in freezing rain, the people who eat lunch at their desks because a client changed a deadline and someone has to fix it. So when I finished business school, I asked my father for one thing. No title. No announcement. No corner office. I wanted to start at the bottom. He resisted at first. My mother thought I was being dramatic. The board thought it was a branding exercise. But I insisted. If I was going to inherit the company one day, I needed to know what kind of company it really was when no one knew I was watching. So I became Evan Cole, Junior Sales Associate. I rented a small room in Queens. I rode an old motorcycle that coughed every morning like it regretted being alive. I wore discount shirts and shoes that hurt after 10 hours. I ate from the same food cart outside the office almost every day. That was where I met Noah Ramirez. Noah worked 2 desks away from me. He was honest in a city that taught people to be careful with honesty. He sent half his paycheck home to his mother in Arizona. He kept a photo of his younger sisters inside his phone case. He laughed easily, worried quietly, and treated everyone from receptionists to security guards with the same respect. He did not know who I was. That made his friendship priceless. On a humid Monday morning in August, we sat outside the office building with iced coffees sweating on the plastic table between us. Noah stared at his phone and groaned. Commission is late again. I checked my own account. Empty enough to be believable. How bad? My mom's prescription is due Friday. I'm short. I pulled the last $40 from my wallet and slid it across the table. He pushed it back immediately. No, man. You need that. I'll survive. You always say that. And I always do. He stared at me for a second, then took the money like it hurt him. I'll pay you back. I know. That was the thing about Noah. He meant it. Even when he had nothing, he never acted entitled to someone else's little. Across the street, Heir Meridian's glass tower rose into the hot gray sky. Somewhere near the top was my father's office. He was probably reviewing expansion reports while I counted coins for lunch. Noah followed my gaze. You hear the rumor? What rumor? New department head. Supposedly connected to the CEO's family. He lowered his voice. People are saying he's the heir. I almost choked on my coffee. The heir. Yeah. Some long-lost son or something. HR is acting weird. Management is scared. If he's one of those rich legacy types, we're dead. I looked up at the tower again. My father had warned me in a text the night before. A new department head starts tomorrow. Be careful. I want you to observe before I intervene. At the time, I thought he meant a bad manager. I did not think he meant someone pretending to be me. The next morning, the office changed before the man even arrived. People wore better clothes. Desks were cleaner. Conversations dropped into whispers whenever an elevator opened. At exactly 9, the glass doors swung wide and Damon Reed walked in like the building had been constructed to frame his entrance. He wore a navy suit too tight in the shoulders, a diamond watch too loud for daylight, and a smile that did not reach his eyes. Behind him walked Victor from operations, the kind of man who could smell power from 3 floors away and crawl toward it. Damon stopped in the center of the sales floor. I'm Damon Reed, he said. As of today, I lead this department. I don't believe in excuses. I don't tolerate laziness. And I especially don't tolerate disrespect. His eyes moved across the room slowly, enjoying the silence. Some of you have heard rumors about my connection to the Heir family. I won't confirm or deny gossip. But understand this. I'm here with authority from the top. That was clever. Not a direct lie. A fog thick enough for cowards to hide in. Then Noah's phone rang. He grabbed it fast, face draining. Sorry, sir. It's my mother's clinic. I just need. Damon snatched the phone from his hand and slapped it onto the desk. The screen cracked. You answer personal calls during work? Noah froze. My mother is sick. Then visit her after you resign. The room went still. Damon turned to Victor. Dock him 50% this month. Write him up for insubordination. Noah's lips parted but no sound came out. 50% of his pay was not a punishment. It was a disaster. I stood. Sir, I said calmly. Company policy allows emergency family calls if reported to a supervisor after the fact. Damon turned to me. And you are? Evan Cole. His eyes swept over my cheap shirt, my worn shoes, my ID badge. Sit down, Evan Cole, before I make you an example too. Power reveals. It does not create. Damon had been in the office less than 10 minutes, and already he had shown us exactly who he was. I sat down, but not because I was afraid. Because I was counting. The cracked phone. The illegal pay deduction. The public humiliation. Evidence has a way of becoming louder when you let arrogant people keep talking. Within a week, Damon turned the department into a little kingdom. Employees had to stand when he passed. Reports had to be printed and placed on his desk even though the company had gone paperless. Victor recorded who greeted him warmly and who did not. People who laughed at his jokes got smaller targets. People who kept their heads down got warnings. Then came the envelopes. Friday morning, Damon walked in with Victor carrying a stack of white envelopes. To reward loyalty, Damon announced, I'm giving personal bonuses to team members with the right attitude. $200 for the assistant who brought him coffee. $300 for a rep who praised his leadership. $500 for Victor, who bowed so deeply I thought his spine might stay that way. He skipped Noah. He skipped me. Then he held up the last envelope. Respect is profitable, he said. Some people should learn that. A few people laughed because they thought laughing was safer than silence. That night, Damon invited the department to a private karaoke lounge. Invitation was the wrong word. Refusal would be remembered. Noah did not want to go. He's going to humiliate us. Yes. So why go? Because people like Damon reveal more when they think the room belongs to them. The lounge was all purple lights, loud music, and expensive bottles charged to a card Damon probably wanted everyone to notice. He sat in the center like a prince in a cheap nightclub kingdom. After an hour, Victor brought a full bottle of whiskey to our table. Damon lifted his glass. Evan. Noah. Come show some team spirit. Noah whispered. Don't. I walked over. Damon placed the bottle in front of me. Drink it. Finish the bottle, and I'll restore Noah's pay. The room quieted. There it was. Not discipline. Not leadership. Entertainment. I looked at Noah, then back at Damon. No. Damon smiled. No. I don't sell my dignity by the ounce. His face hardened. My ex-girlfriend, Clara, who had somehow attached herself to Damon's arm that week, laughed softly. Still pretending to have pride, Evan? You used to count quarters for laundry. I looked at her. For 2 years I had loved the version of Clara I thought was real. She had left when she decided I was going nowhere. Now she was wearing Damon's watch on her wrist and my past like a weapon. Damon grabbed the bottle. You need to be taught respect. He swung. I moved before the glass reached me. My father had insisted on self-defense training when I was a teenager, and for once I silently thanked him. I caught Damon's wrist, twisted just enough to make him drop the bottle and stepped back. The bottle shattered across the floor. The music kept playing for 2 seconds too long. Damon stared at me, humiliated. You're finished, he whispered. I looked toward the ceiling camera in the corner. No, I said. I think we finally started. On Monday, HR sent emails to both Noah and me. Temporary suspension pending investigation. The stated reasons were workplace violence, poor performance, and disruptive conduct. Noah read his email 3 times, then sat down hard. My mom is going to panic. I leaned over. Noah, listen to me. HR cannot fire people by rumor. They need documentation. They need evidence. And if Damon submitted false reports, that is not our end. It is his. He looked at me like I was speaking another language. How do you know all this? I read contracts when I'm nervous. That was not entirely a lie. I filed a formal response. I attached our sales logs showing Noah had exceeded target. I requested the karaoke footage. I requested the written policy Damon claimed allowed wage docking. I copied HR compliance, legal, and one private address only my father's office monitored. Then I called my father. Dad, I said, do you know a Damon Reed? Silence. Then his voice changed. Where did you hear that name? So there was something. I explained everything. The rumors. The abuse. The suspension. My father listened without interrupting. Finally, he said, Damon contacted me 2 months ago. He claims he is my biological son from before I met your mother. The DNA test suggests he may be telling the truth, but I never appointed him. I never authorized him to use the Heir name. I was trying to handle it quietly. Quietly. That word nearly made me laugh. Dad, he is not quiet. He is tearing through your company wearing your silence as a crown. My father exhaled. What do you need? Tell HR to preserve every document. Don't announce anything yet. Let him walk one more step. Evan, I need the company to see who he is. A pause. Then, be careful. The next evening, I took Noah to Fifth Avenue. He thought I had lost my mind. Evan, I am suspended. This is not the time to window shop around people who spend my rent on socks. I owe you something. You owe me nothing. That's why I owe you. We entered a watch boutique my family had dealt with for years. Noah hovered near the door like security might tackle him for breathing too close to the glass. I was looking at a simple steel watch when Clara's voice cut through the room. Well, this is sad. She stood beside Damon dressed in white, holding a shopping bag from a designer store. Damon's face still carried the bruise of wounded pride. Clara looked me up and down. Are you here to see what success looks like? Noah's face flushed. Damon smirked at the sales associate. You let anyone in here now? The associate hesitated. Damon pulled out a gold card. I'm Damon Reed. Heir family. I want these two removed. I smiled. You really enjoy saying that name. His eyes narrowed. What did you say? Before he could step closer, the back office door opened. Mr. Laurent, the boutique director, came out. He had known my family since I was 12 and had once helped my father choose my graduation watch. He saw Damon first, annoyed. Then he saw me. His expression changed completely. Mr. Heir, he said, bowing his head. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were coming in today. The boutique went silent. Noah turned to me slowly. Damon laughed once. You're mistaken. His name is Evan Cole. He works under me. Mr. Lawrence's face became ice. This is Evan Heir, only legal heir of Heir Meridian Group. I suggest you choose your next sentence carefully. Clara dropped her shopping bag. Damon went pale. I took out my black family card and placed it on the counter. Please wrap the steel watch for my friend. Not the loudest one. The best one. Noah whispered. Evan. What is happening? I turned to him. I'll explain everything. But first, I'm buying my brother a watch. Clara stepped toward me, tears already forming. Evan, I didn't know. That was the test, Clara. I made a mistake. No. You made a choice when you thought I had nothing. This is just the first time the choice cost you. Damon tried to leave, but Mr. Lawrence's security stopped him long enough to verify the gold card he had flashed. Declined. Not insufficient for a watch. Insufficient for the strap. The next morning, Heir Meridian knew. Rumors moved faster than email. By 9, everyone in sales stared as Noah and I walked in. He wore a new suit and the watch I had given him, though he kept hiding it under his sleeve like it might explode. Damon was waiting at my desk with coffee. Mr. Heir, he said, voice oily, there has been a misunderstanding. I looked at the coffee. No, there has been a pattern. Victor stood behind him, sweating. I called the president of operations from my phone. Send the executive team to sales. Now. 10 minutes later, The floor was full of people who had never visited unless cameras were present. I stood where Damon had once made employees bow. The past 2 weeks showed me something important, I said. One man abused power he did not legally have. One man helped him. Several people laughed because they thought cruelty was safer than courage. And one man, Noah Ramirez, kept his integrity when he had every reason to be afraid. Noah looked down, emotional. I turned to Damon. Damon Reed, you used an unverified personal claim to impersonate executive authority. You pressured HR with false reports. You docked wages without cause. You created a hostile workplace. Effective immediately, you are removed from this company pending legal action. Damon's mouth opened. You can't do this. I'm his son too. The room froze. I nodded. There it is. The half-truth. I faced the department. Blood is not a crown. Even if Damon's claim is biologically true, he was never appointed, never approved by the board, never granted shares, never authorized to represent this family or this company. Damon stepped toward me. You had everything. No, I said. I had responsibility. You wanted a throne. Security took him out while he shouted that the company owed him. Victor was fired next. HR compliance opened a review of every false report Damon had submitted. Employees who had been punished illegally were compensated. Then I turned to the room. I will not punish fear today. But I will say this once. A toxic workplace is not built by one bully alone. It is built by every person who watches, laughs, benefits, and says nothing. From today on, that ends. No one clapped at first. Then Maria from admin started. Slowly, the whole floor joined. A week later, Damon tried one final act of stupidity. Noah and I were leaving a late dinner when Damon stepped from an alley, wild-eyed, holding a knife. He demanded money. $500,000. Cash transfer, anything. He said I had stolen his life. But the camera on Noah's dash recorded everything. So did the security camera above the restaurant entrance. When Damon lunged, I disarmed him and held him down until police arrived. He cried while they cuffed him. Not from regret. From the shock of consequence. My father did not intervene. That mattered. Months passed. Noah became regional sales director. He earned it. Not because he was my friend, but because he understood people, work pressure, and loyalty better than half the executives upstairs. One evening, we stood on the rooftop of Hale Meridian, watching the city turn gold under the sunset. Noah leaned on the railing. You know, when you gave me $40 outside that food cart, I thought you were broke. I was. That week. He laughed. You're ridiculous. Probably. He looked at the skyline. So what now, Mr. Hale? I thought about Damon, Clara, Victor, the people who bowed too fast, the people who stayed silent, the people like Noah who made the whole experiment worth it. Now, I said, we build a company where nobody has to bow to keep their paycheck. Noah raised his coffee cup. To that. I clinked mine against his. For 3 years, I hid my name to learn the truth. Now I would use it to protect the people who had no name powerful enough to protect them. That was the only inheritance worth having. Disclaimer. This video is created for the sole purpose of entertainment. All situations, characters, and stories in this video are fictional and are built entirely using artificial intelligence technology. We hope you have a relaxing time.